Today we'll be talking about glue. We have a few different types of glue in front of us. We'll talk about a few more. So let's clear these off and start with CA glue, aka super glue. Super glue is a quick set, fast drying adhesive that creates strong bonds. Because it's typically thinner, it's great for quickly adhering smoother surfaces. This is a great all-purpose adhesive that'll work on everything from paper to wood to metal. Super glue is not often used for final adhesion with materials that will see a lot of wear, but to keep small joints set or large joints in place until they can be more permanently attached. You can apply it by just simply taking off the cap, putting some on a piece, sticking it together, and holding it until it sets. Take care not to get super glue onto the tip, otherwise you can seal your cap in place. There are many common types of wood glue, but they're very similar in application. Wood glue has a fairly long drying time and requires some sort of clamping motion during drying. Clamps, tape, weights, or small nails can be used to ensure a tight glue up. Wood glue is very strong and will provide plenty of adhesion for most wood-based projects. A little glue goes a long way and should be spread evenly across the gluing surface. Squeeze out can be cleaned up with a wet rag. To use the wood glue, you simply spread some onto the piece. Use your finger or something else to spread it evenly across. Stick it together. Then you can use a clamp to hold the pieces together. And wipe off the excess glue. Hot glue is a solid glue that is melted in a hot glue gun and then applied to the piece. This glue is also fast drying, but more temporary than super glue. Hot glue can be used for a variety of purposes. It can be used to adhere small pieces together, hold large pieces in place until screws can be applied, make a quick seal along the inside of a corner, hold wires to a surface, and even protect exposed wires. You can apply it by squeezing it out on the piece. Sticking the two together to hold them in place. You're good. Epoxy is a very versatile adhesive that can be used for lots of other things as well. Epoxy is quick setting and can be used to adhere many different materials. It comes in two parts that are mixed equally by weight or volume. For application, it is usually helpful to lay down masking tape, squeeze both parts equally side by side, and then use a scrap to mix the two together and then apply it to the surface. Epoxy squeeze out is much harder to get off a surface than other glues, so clean up the excess while it's still wet. You can use larger amounts of epoxy to fill cracks or make shapes from molds. To remove any air bubbles, lightly run a heat gun over the setting epoxy to make the bubbles rise to the top and pop. Roughly equal parts. Take a scrap piece to mix them up. Make sure that they're good and mixed. And you can use this to apply to the surface. And that should set up. Then cleanup is just as easy. Removing the tape. White PVA glue, typically called craft glue or fabric glue, is used on paper and fabric. It forms a relatively quick bond that's flexible and typically water resistant. This glue works best on porous materials and is a general all-around adhesive. Last but not least, some tips. First, clean your materials. Make sure there's no dust, dirt, or moisture on your materials, as this can weaken the bond. Have a scrap piece of cardboard or rags on hand. Glue can get messy, so make sure that you have appropriate supplies for cleaning up any spills or squeeze out. Work in a ventilated area. Many types of glues contain harmful chemicals and can produce noxious fumes. Lightly sand or score some materials. This can help some materials, such as metals, ceramics, and woods, form a stronger bond when adhered. Have a friend help. For larger projects, heavier items, you may want to have a friend available to help you hold and manipulate the project. Plan ahead. Plan how you'll clamp the project and where you'll store it as it's drying before you begin. You don't want to rush around figuring this out while you're in the middle of gluing your project. Finally, read the directions. Every type of glue is different, so make sure you read the directions and apply accordingly. Hope this helps you pick the right glue for the job.